It's time for Geocache Talk. Whether you are at work, in the car, or wherever you are, we hope you enjoy this show about the great sport of geocaching. If you're watching live on YouTube, you can be part of the adventure tonight in the chat room and participate with others as they watch the show. If you are listening later, please give it a like and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app so that you can get all of the weekly Geocache Talk goodness. If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Big thanks to Derek, Baker Six Clan, and our featured patrons, Jokerus, Skippy Teddy 83 and Casperfly, Retired Guy, Team Murky, 1940 Chevy, Joyful Nomad, Crime Fighter 89, Demac 04, OLB 1992, CP590, and our new patrons, the Geocaching Ninja. That's my ninja pose. And the favorite cacher. There we go. And tonight we have, of course, my co-host Jesse is with us tonight from beautiful Florida.
Beautiful.
And our guest tonight, Kevin DeVizia, aka Captain Math. We use math every day, Kevin.
We do.
We have a lot to get to, so let's jump right into some news. Only a couple items tonight. One is that we are going to be showing a clue here in a moment. But before that, I do want to mention that the Cache Fest event packages are on sale. There you go. Thank you, Derek. It's nice to have a producer. I just want to mention that. It's not as good when I try to do it. So there are the packages, and lots of cool stuff you can get. And of course, if you just want to free register, you can do that as well. But we've got packages of all shapes and sizes, named after boats, because that's our the paddle boat is our theme for Memphis. Have you, Jesse? You remember I don't know. Have you ever been on a paddle boat when you lived in Memphis, or not in Memphis?
I don't believe I've ever been on a paddle boat. No,
it'd be your first time.
Tons of times.
Oh yeah,
never been on one.
Yeah, we do have, as part of our Friday extravaganza, we do have. It's after an event. So we're doing an event, and then if you want to join us, we're going to go do, we're all going to jump on a paddle boat, and we're going to do a little excursion along the mighty Mississippi. So we encourage you to do that.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be great fun. So,
alligators too?
Alligators
in Memphis.
I don't know about alligators. I mean, it could be along the river. I don't know. That's a good question.
But no alligators.
No alligators.
I'm good.
All right, let's talk a little bit about, or let's talk about the vault, and then we're going to do a vault clue. So, Tom's saying the only. So Tom said he's been on one in the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, cool. We're going to be showing tonight the final clue for key 11.
Okay.
And so we're going to show that. And we will also post it as part of the group in case you're interested in joining in on our key hide items that we're doing. So I'll pull it up real quick. Here it is. There it is. It'll be in the Facebook group as well.
For the audio listeners, you're
For
showing
audio
the
listeners.
clue, but yeah.
Yeah, we're showing the
Don't have to go to
clue.
Facebook to find it, right?
Yeah, it'll be in the Facebook group, the Cache Fest Vault Facebook group. And so that is going really well. We have a lot of members, and we have been hiding a lot of clues or hide a lot of keys. We were showing a lot of clues. The vault, in case you're wondering, I'll real quickly tell you that there's at least currently, there's $500 in gift cards in that thing. There are books. There are I got the comic book from Joshua signed. There are coins. There's lots of different swag, all packed into the vault. And you have to have a key to try to open the vault. And there are 45 keys made. Thank you to Bounce. So Chad made 45 keys. Only one of the keys works. None of us know which one is, which is nice. That way it wouldn't influence our hide. You know, we're all hiding. There's 9 members of the Geocache Talk Network. We're all hiding 5. And we're giving out clues, different puzzles. So far, 10 keys have been found, and they've been found in 10 different states. So, I mean, come on. Show some love here. Give us some credit for not putting them all in. They're not all in Tennessee, although in fact there hadn't been one in Tennessee, but they're all over.
None found in Tennessee anyway.
None found in Tennessee yet.
I mean, they haven't been hidden there.
Yeah. We don't know if they've been hidden there or not, but it's just cool. I think that they've 10 keys in 10 different states. So
I think it's fair to remind people. One key opens the vault, but every key that shows up gets a prize.
Yes. So Geocache
you don't do all that work for no reason. You still get a prize no matter what.
So absolutely. So there'll be a box of cool stuff. It's going to be, so even if you don't find one, or if your key doesn't work, if you find a key, you're guaranteed a prize. So there you go. And Geocache Ninja says my key will work. Well, we'll have to find out. We'll find out in Memphis on July 15th. So come see us. A lot of cool stuff planned. It's going to be great. We'll give more details as we get closer to that date, which isn't too far off. I mean, time flies. So, all right. So tonight we're going to be talking about something I saw. So Kevin, I saw that you had found this particular cache, type of cache, and I thought we got to do a show about this. Plus, I wanted to have you back on to talk about other caches too, because you've found a lot of cool caches lately. And we'll get to those as well. But we're going to start with what's called a point of view cache. So kind of tell people a little about what a point of view cache is, and then you've got some things you got some splaining to do about these caches. So
Sure.
Go ahead.
So a point of view cache, and I don't trying to take credit for the name or something, but I've never heard anyone call it that. So if it has a name, it's just in here. Now I guess it's everywhere else. But a point of view cache is what I'm calling a geocache that involves the use of a photo on the cache page, or somehow involved in a puzzle or something that is a photo taken from the point of view of where the geocache is. So if the geocache, we could personify it as a geocacher and took a picture of the surroundings. You're looking at this photo and you can line up more precisely exactly where the cache is. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no use of GPS coordinates. There certainly is. You use the GPS coordinates to get in the vicinity, to get to the spot where you can see the different elements that are in that picture, and then work your way to the spot. And truth is that for the two that I did recently in North Carolina, you probably could have found it. Well, you know, the one I could have found probably without the perspective. The other one just about bit me in the ankle or something, but I wasn't finding it right away.
Right.
But the whole idea and the part that makes it fun is that, you know, you have to look and pay attention to your surroundings and look at the elements that a very observant geocache owner chose to line up perfectly where that spot is. And in the cases of the two in North Carolina I did recently, they got me within, and I'm not exaggerating, within inches. I was within 2 inches of the geocache thanks to what we saw. And I don't think coordinates could have done that. But this perspective really sharpened it, and I needed it in one case. So I guess maybe we could, if there's something you could bring up with that first one, that is, tell me why it's called. There it is. Good. And you'll see on this cache page, you know, it has coordinates, and the coordinates. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Yeah, that's it. The coordinates take you to this spot here. And so you're looking around and looking for the geocache, and I wasn't finding it. Now, I think that description told me it was a micro.
Okay.
But the photo that you guys are all looking at right now is the photo that I had to work with. And so I'm walking around, climbing around, trying to find stuff. And now take notice of some of the things that make this a little bit of a challenge. You know, you see a number of things there. There's maybe what the photo doesn't show is like right behind me and where I'm standing is a lot of downed deadfall type stuff. A couple of big rocks and that sort of thing, places that would have easily been able to hide a micro that would have taken you forever to be able to find.
Right.
And so I'm looking around, but just look at that picture and ask yourself, are there some objects in that picture that you wouldn't think would move over time due to natural causes, you know, and things to line up.
Oh, interesting.
That pyramidal cage that you see there for the drainage in the lake, for instance, really stands out.
Sure.
And when you look at that, you can see the segments that are defined by that thing, and they line up so well with each other that it's easy to line them up when you're standing in the spot. What you can't see in that picture is that I'm standing on a slope. Now that person who's in the picture, that's not me. Okay. That was part of the CO's. I think that was the CO's husband there. Right. I got to say big thanks to Liz who let me have permission to share this with you. But anyway, I'm standing in this sloping spot, and I'm moving around, and you don't only have to try to get in 2 dimensions where you want to go. You really got to get in that 3rd dimension height where you need to go. And when we got everything all lined up, and this is the thing that really set me off with this one, is that I wasn't finding it. I was circling. And when I just said, I kind of gave up on trying to get it from the coordinates and paid attention to that photo, I got to the point where I could see everything perfectly. And wouldn't you know, I looked down, and again, no exaggeration here, 2 inches from my left ankle. I mean, I could have just flung my foot to the left and kicked the container.
If it was a snake, it'd have bit you.
Oh, it was a different kind of animal. We'll leave it at that. But there was a geocache there, and I hadn't seen it in my wandering around. And I saw it then, and it was a wow. It was like one of those beautiful aha moments that love.
That's awesome.
Game of geocache.
That's great. I like that.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
It's a great idea.
You know, how the perspective lines everything up. Now that one you had obvious objects there, right, for height and side to side. I haven't seen one exactly like that. That's pretty good.
It's sweet. I've before this, it was years ago. I had found. I mean, I wasn't thinking of classifying at the time,
right?
But I was looking at what would I now call a point of view cache. There were a few of them by a geocacher. I can't even remember the name now or who it was, but up in Maine, they had some.
Okay.
And I know I've done at least one or two of these in Ohio as well.
Okay.
Again, a while ago. So I wouldn't be able to find them right now. But 2 different trips through North Carolina, one in January and one in February, took me to ones there. And both of them were so remarkably spot on. It was incredible fun. So it added a layer of puzzle solving, if you will. Field puzzle solving to the whole experience. Loved it.
Canis Minor says that caches like that in the Chicago area have been called a shutter spot, thanks to a cache called Badlands. So it goes by a couple different names. So if you happen to see shutter spot, things like that, you might be able to, see that it's the same kind of thing. So
nice. I haven't noticed that, and I cached in the Chicago area, but maybe I did see it and just didn't pay any attention to it. Now I will. So
Jay Bean says found the one in Miami was mentioned. That's cool. Very cool.
It's a very creative way to do a puzzle that it just takes a little time to set up, but it definitely has you wandering around the area, really paying attention to what you're doing instead of just walking up and, knowing the location when you get there.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I think the thing that amazes me most about it, in the case of Liz, who did that cache that you just saw, and another one that'll be coming up also in North Carolina, but unrelated that one, I just find it really cool that the geocache owners noticed that they could take advantage of that area to do something like that. I doubt they went out with the idea in mind, I'm going to do one of these caches today. I feel like it was probably serendipity that they found those perfect spots. And actually, that's going to be a theme that's going to come back later in conversation, I think, tonight. So,
somebody else mentioned, I think Picture This was another one that had come up.
Picture This, yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Good name for it too,
yeah.
Wow.
So what's another one that you got that you want?
Well, I think we're ready with that second one from North Carolina that I'm bringing up. I only had 2 strictly point of view, I'll call them, caches. And that's
the one with the jet? Was that
F4 Phantom.
That's the one I saw that you'd found, and that's one that got me thinking, we got to talk about this.
What a great spot. I got to give a nice shout out, by the way, to my good friend, Chairman 73, and not because he signs the same signature almost exactly as me. I write CM Pi, he writes CM 73.
Oh, how funny.
But he's a former Marine and gave me a wonderful tour of Camp Lejeune, or excuse me, Colin, if you're listening, Camp Lejeune down there in North Carolina, and suggested heading out this way. And this one was also fun. Go ahead and bring that page back up if you can.
It's interesting just that the thought about it is fascinating. And we talked before too, if people are wondering, you can, if you word it properly to your reviewer, you can use, this can be just a regular traditional, because in the guidelines it says that you're to take them to a location. Doesn't say you have to take them to the cache location. It says you have to take them to a location, a GPS location. We all sort of assume that the point of
I'd like to hear a reviewer weigh in on that. We may have some
Yeah.
in the audience. I think you're going to have trouble getting that past the traditional, Gary.
Well, you can just read the guidelines say, and I'll read it while we're looking at this one.
The coordinates are supposed to be the location of the cache, though, right, on a traditional?
No, it's not what it says. It's not what the guidelines say.
Okay.
Which, Jesse, you know more than anybody that's
for a traditional. I think he's right there, Gary. I think it.
I love skirting the rules, so if we find a loophole, I'll definitely use it until they close it.
I don't think it's skirting the rule, but obviously you got to take them to. It says, I'm just reading from the GPS.
We're gonna cause trouble already. I love it.
From the HQ Bible.
Dig deep.
It says the cache page must provide coordinates of a specific object or location that is needed to find the cache.
Yeah.
Notice how that's what it says. This is traditional.
I'm not sure, Gary, on that.
Adequate.
This is my theory that
Yeah.
when they wrote that, I think they were trying to broaden the language to allow for unknown caches and others to be included in that. Because you notice that it mentions in that guideline that they could take you to another object or something that
multi-caches are that way too.
Yeah. Library geocaches would be a great example because they're not like necessarily the final isn't necessarily going to be at the posted coordinates. But
they give examples: container with further information or coordinates to the next stage.
Yeah.
That's multi-cache.
That'd be multi.
A sign or plaque with information.
Yeah.
A landmark used as a reference point to determine the next stage. A tool.
Next stage is not for a traditional.
No, but
that's for geocaches in general.
A physical. Maybe I shouldn't use the word traditional. Physical.
Well, yeah, physical for sure.
Yeah. A tool used to find or access the cache.
I think it's a very creative way. So under the rules, just so you know, it does say that the container of a physical is located at the posted coordinates.
Yeah.
So you have trouble passing that off, although I love it.
Yeah.
I think if you can, like I said, as Liz
but
says,
to get it published as an unknown for a puzzle cache, you're going to have to really explain to your reviewer how they're going to find it.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing is that if coordinates don't figure in at all, if a GPS, the use of a GPS enabled device doesn't figure in at all, then it's not going to be called a geocache.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
They won't publish those. Yeah.
But you're taking them to, and I think this one, so if we're kind of defining these point of view caches, you're taking them to a location to start, a GPS coordinates to start, just like a multi, right?
Right.
And it's within that general region where you're going for the exact cache. So I think you're going to be, you're still taking them close to where those coordinates are.
Oh,
so I don't see why there be any problem with that at all.
I have a cache that it's not a multi-cache. It's a traditional, but the first one that you go to is just a photo, and there's a series of photos, and you have to follow the photos to get to the final. So there's no, again, it's a point of view kind of cache because you got to stand in a certain spot to see the next sign or the next photo.
Now I've done one like that too, but I don't think it would fall into the same category. So it could be called a point of view cache, but I think it's a little different than the ones we're talking about. This was one in Colorado. The starting coordinates were like the trailhead, and then you start going up the trail, and it's going up a mountain. And every time you'd come to a split, a Y in the road, you'd have to look at the picture and determine which trail you're going to go to. And all you had is a series of pictures.
Right.
So you kept going that way. Now, there was no coordinates after that first trailhead, but if you were standing there, you knew where to stand, and you just had to make a decision which trail to go to. So it was kind of like the reverse of a point of view cache, right? It was just choose your own path or whatever, but it was all pictures. But I wouldn't put that in the same category as the ones we're talking about tonight.
Right. But with the guidelines, it fits the guidelines in the same way. I mean, because you did have the use of
coordinates. Yeah.
But that's only the very beginning, right? Like all the other stages were not listed. It was all puzzle, I think it was multi-stage, but I think it was listed as an unknown, not as a multi-cache.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you have to have solid steps on those, I think.
I think the key thing that I would probably point out is that, like, at least in the two that I'm going to show you from North Carolina tonight, both of them, the posted coordinates were as close as any traditional I've done, or like the typical traditional I've done, at being able to get you there. I'm not saying it's necessarily going to be easy, but if you're 20 feet off or something, I mean, depending on the kind of height it is, 20 feet could be, that could be closer. That could be like, forget it. You're not going to find it.
Right. That could be 5 trees over.
Yeah. So to have that extra help from something like that, you might make the case that, hey, that point of view really helps narrow it down. It's
absolutely
more precise that way. I mean, in fact, actually, if we can go back to that second one, the Marine jet. Yeah. I mean, that's the actual photo that you're seeing right now that's on the page. And this is another good case of the coordinates are like certainly close enough to find it. Jesse, I would make the case that you could have this one be a traditional, but I'm really glad that they didn't. One, because I like puzzles, but the second one is because that the whole fun in this one here is using what you can see to fine tune what you've got. And you'd appreciate it more if you're at the spot looking at this picture, trust me. But once again, that picture is like spot on and lets you get spot on. And much nothing but geocache, even though I never saw the geocache until it was in my hand.
Wow.
That's funny.
Yeah.
But using the photo though, you could really dial in exactly where you need to stand.
That's it. That's right.
Love it. Right. These are single stage ones. I mean, there's a lot of places you can go with this, right?
Oh yeah.
Multi.
These are single stage, and even just a single stage, that's pretty simple in terms of what these are doing. That's so much more fun. I mean, that's adding another layer. You could just go there and wander around, but that's adding so much more fun to it.
Definitely. You're going to see one like that in just a little bit. But first, I just want to give a shout out to some of the folks down in that part of North Carolina that I already mentioned, Chairman 73. And oh gosh, I don't want to screw up her name, Riggs, M. Riggs, I think it is, in southeastern North Carolina, and Waxman. And these guys are just really coming together and fostering a lot of fun stuff down there that I hope someday they do events down there and pull some people down, because their caches don't seem to get hit very much for the quality that I was seeing down there. Gadget caches and other stuff think outside the box things like this. So shout out to them. North Carolina, get down there and check out what's there. But if we can switch to the next cache in the list, is that the one that I want? Yeah, actually, this is it. Yep. This one is on Ontario. Now, truth be told here, I have not done this one yet. But thanks to my friend Lisa, LCSM, she brought this up in a discussion when we were talking about this topic. And Jesse, this is exactly what you were just talking about. So this whole idea of a point of view cache lends itself to having more layers to it. Okay, so if you look at this one, you can see a link to a puzzle. Now, forgive me, I am not a Jiggity fan. I
like Jiggity, but that's anyway.
Well, this is my kind of Jiggity. 20 minutes.
I like it.
Short.
Derek will probably have the thing solved before I finish this thing. But you solve this thing, and you guys are expecting it's going to give you the final coordinates.
Right. That's usually true.
That's what you'd figure it would be, but that's not exactly what happens with this one. Okay, so this is up in Ontario, and can't remember the name of the town. It was anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. But Waterford, I think it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if Cash Line is in the house or something like
that.
He is. You probably know this. He is. Okay, yeah, there he is. Yep. Yeah, look how happy he looks. But anyway, dragging all those things into place, once it comes together, you solve the puzzle and it becomes your perspective photo.
Oh, nice.
But now this is the cool part. Jesse, this is what you were talking about perfectly. What it's giving you is not the final location of the geocache. Instead, what it does in the description, when you look at that later, it tells you to go to the spot where this was. Like, where was this photo taken from? And then do a projection from there.
Oh,
yeah. Nice. Ugly, a little letterboxy, if that's a word. It is now.
Yeah. Letterboxy. I like that.
Letterboxy. And you know, it gets you to the geocache. Again, I haven't done this one, but just because of doing the show and because of hearing this one, I mean, next time I'm up that way, and that's probably one I want to target. I don't think this would be very, very far from Cache Line there. I think he'd possibly have even done this one. But yeah, it looks like a very cool one. Now, see, all you guys were thinking the same as me, I bet. You're looking at that and you're waiting for a message to pop up, right?
Yeah.
That's all you get. You get this picture. Then it's like, okay, what do I do with this? And, you know, if you're like me, you never read the instructions until you really have to. Right?
Whoa, that's never happened to Jesse and I.
No, never happened to us.
So if you go back to that cache page, then you're done with a jiggity at this point. If you could get back to that cache page, you'll see that in that one paragraph in there, it mentions about a projection to be done, and that will take you to where you can end up finding the geocache. Absolutely correct to classify that as a puzzle cache.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can't know where to project from without doing the perspective part of it.
That's true.
So it's got all those beautiful layers in that.
Cool.
Yeah, and I'm talking like it's, well, you know what? It's beautiful when I can find it. It really stinks when I can't, right? But but that sounds like an incredible amount of fun to do that one.
That's it's interesting because doing a projection, you generally have to do pretty
you have to do one
close to the real coordinates, right? So it's going to be interesting how they pull their coordinates there and then project from that point.
Yeah. Forgive me for interrupting just a second, but the person you just brought back up there, Shannon.
Yeah, Shannon.
Shannon is a geocacher in Ireland right now, but when I first met Shannon starting to geocache, she was a student in my 9th grade geometry class.
Oh, cool.
So, we go way back there. So
that's awesome.
One of these days I'm getting there to Dublin, and we're going to go find a few special geocaches together.
Yeah.
So, hi, Shannon.
You could go get Europe's first. It's not in Dublin, but it's in Bray, but
GC
near
43.
Bray. Yeah. Lacey's asking about instructions. I don't know if there's actual instructions. You could sort of reverse engineer what you found on the list we'll provide in the show notes that Kevin put together. You can probably, don't you think, Kevin, she could probably reverse engineer it?
Yeah, I think the descriptions told you enough, though, in each of those three of what to do. So it wasn't like they left you completely hanging. It was just there were no instructions given as a result of the jiggity, which is what had me looking like, what's up with this?
Right.
And so then you had to go back to the cache page, like the cache page that I didn't read until after doing my 20-piece jiggity. And there were instructions with what to do with it then.
Cool.
So, yeah.
And it seems like it would be pretty simple to set up one of these without the extra layers that we're going to talk about, but just one of these point of view caches. You could set this up pretty simply in your area.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I think the tricky part is you can imagine that this isn't going to work like, in a wooded area in some forest or whatever, where things are going to have
distinct features.
Yeah. So like Liz's first one that we looked at there, or the marine jets that never get moved there. I mean, that works out really well. Yeah. I've got a spot in my area that would be perfect for this, except I already have a geocache there. but it's a railroad turntable, a historic railroad turntable, but it keeps turning. I mean, every time you go back, it's different. So it would be tricky to do something like that.
Right.
I'm already thinking of one that I might want to do in my area. I've already got the wheels turning.
Nice.
I won't even say what cache type it is because everybody can guess anyway, but I'll save that till later on in the show.
Okay.
Sure.
It's Florida. I'll be back.
There we go.
So,
all right. Next one. Okay. Next on the list.
Yeah, what do we got up next here? It's I got to remember what's next. Oh, yes. Okay. So this one I wouldn't call a point of view cache, but you'll see that we're starting to morph in the order that these ones go. This one is right in my home state of Pennsylvania, although it's out toward the western side of the state more.
Cool.
And it's hidden by a prolific hider in Pennsylvania, Beans and Franks. Frank Malik is a great hider of geocaches out there. And I would say he'll just laugh at me in my face if I say it this way, but he can't laugh at me now. I think it was absolutely brilliant that he did what he did with this one. It's one of those things you really had to pay attention as a cache hider to take advantage of this. And he does hide a ton of geocaches. So he's probably one of those who's always thinking when he's out somewhere, how can I get a geocache out of this? So he gave me permission to tell you this about it. And, even if I spoil something here, that's not going to take any of the fun away from this one. This was wonderful. We're hiking along, not hiking. We were biking along a bike trail, and along one side of the bike trail, kind of on riverside, is a rock with a hole, cylindrical hole bored straight through it.
Nice.
On the other side is a little bit of a slope going up. And what he got the idea to do was to go and peek through the hole in that rock. When I say a hole in that rock, I mean, it was like longer than I can reach with my hands like this. But you can actually, you know what? Derek, if you wouldn't mind, let me see. My log on this one has got to be one of the last few who found it. See if you can find Captain Math in there and my log. And I should have a picture in there I added. Is that me? Oh, there we go. And click on that picture. That'll give you an idea. So that's my eye looking through the hole. And my friend awesome. Craig Atchison, a.k.a. WV Cachers 3, who loves to take photos like I love to take photos, except he does a lot more of it. You could, if he could say that. But that's my eye looking through. Now, Craig comes like armed and ready for this because he knew he wanted to do this. In fact, this was his 10,000 milestone find. So he knew this was going to be special. He comes with a laser pointer and he shines the laser pointer through that hole. And this is beautiful. It's like what I was saying about the point of view caches before. This laser pointer, there's only one way it can go. Beans and Franks doesn't tell you which way to go through the hole, but one way doesn't make any sense because it just goes off into nothingness. But on the other hand, the other one crosses the trail to the other side and points at a spot. And that spot is right where we found this tiny little micro that was would have been a nasty one to find, but with the laser pointer. You better believe that one got a favorite point from me. I'm sure Craig came ready to give that one a favorite point.
That's great.
And a very well-earned 10,000K, or not 10,000K. Don't repeat I said that. 10K find. So that was good.
So that's when, first of all, very worthy of a favorite point, but that person could have just hit it out there and given the coordinates. But they added that extra thing to it that makes it that much more fun. That's so it makes the game so much fun. People putting that little bit of effort. They're not trying to stump anybody. They're just trying to add some fun to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think, that's one nice thing about geocaching and the guidelines. And I think the way that they work, I mean, the guidelines, the reviewers do a great job, and their job is to apply those guidelines to a cache listing and say whether or not it meets those guidelines. But it's nice that I think they afford, they meaning the guidelines, afford some space for something like that to work. Because I mean, they were GPS coordinates that got you there.
Yeah.
But you know, that little tiny geocache, if you had seen the place where it was hidden, I mean, you want to talk about a needle in a haystack. That's what it would have been. But, you know, now with shooting something through that hole, going right to it, or just eyeballing it, that really narrowed it down. It was beautiful. It was fun.
That's great.
Very cool. That was a cache of the week years ago, but it got me the idea to do like a PVC tube on, you know, where you could have to look through it to find the cache. But the place I was gonna put it, the reviewer reminded me of the fact that the stage one had to be was a physical, therefore it had to fall under the physical guidelines, and I already had a cache too close, so I need to just find another location for it. But so you have to kind of think through a little bit, but it would work out if as a stage of a multi-cache. This one was a mystery cache, but you could do mystery, you could do multi. There's a couple different ways you could do it. You could do a Rego. I don't know what they call those. I don't think you can do those anymore.
I don't know.
The where
Wargo. Nah, you're so funny.
Oh,
so funny.
Oh, hang on to that thought. That's coming.
Got jokes.
So
I got jokes.
Somebody said marble hunting is based on the same PLV concept. I've never heard of marble hunting, but obviously I'm going to get to go look that up as soon as we're done with the show.
That's Patrick. Yeah. I just started to hear about it, but I think geocaching gives me enough fun that I don't need another hobby there.
Oh, you always got to check out all the hobbies.
Yeah,
I mean, you like them, but you got to check them out
one at a time. I'm too tunnel visioned.
I get that.
Someday, Jesse, you need to go through and count all the different hobbies you've attempted.
Yeah.
Because seriously, you have attempted a lot.
I've attempted a lot of them. I always try to check it out. You never know what your next great obsession is going to be, right? So
you always got
to check them out.
Yeah.
Direwolf's asking if it needs a field puzzle. I think you could use that attribute, right?
I think
Kevin,
so.
Do you think?
I see his point. I think that could use a field puzzle attribute. Yeah, and I think that would justify it being an unknown and that, because everything that you're puzzling about is on site and you're using chords. So I think he's right. I don't know if I would say it's required. It wouldn't have been required, I think, in the first two that we showed. But you know, I would say maybe that third one, I could see that.
I think it'd be good. I would put that if I'm going to hide one, which I probably am going to. Then I would put that attribute on there just because it would be better for the people that are trying to find it.
Yeah.
Give them a little more information about what they're getting into.
Right.
Yeah. So
Nick says that my log has the laser pointing shining through it. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, Nick from New Jersey. He and Joanna went out and did that cache. I think it were the next ones to find it after us. He saw it in my logs and got that.
All right, next one.
Okay, good. So the next one up. Oh, yes. Okay. The next one. Okay. This is in South Carolina, and this is in Anderson, South Carolina. We were doing this one with our friend, Sweetleaf 1019. And we were out for a walk, and it's not the puzzle that's going to be interesting. And this does get off of, actually, the theme that this one really belongs under is not point of view, more creative use of the environment. So just like Frank,
those two
took advantage of a perfect special way to hide a geocache, so did this geocacher, Carol, also known as Pepash 13. And if we could scroll a little bit more and actually go down and Derek, grab my log and open up there should be one photo there that I'm going to get rid of. There's two. Okay. There. Actually, keep it on that one there. So that's obviously me with the hat there. And that's Mrs. CM, Joy, my wife, in the hole, reaching through a hole on the side. And what's interesting about this one is I talked with Pepash afterwards. I don't think that she necessarily planned it this way, although I was absolutely certain that she did. So we've all seen, well, most of us have seen geocaches that are hanging inside a grate like this. Okay. So this one is one of those. But what was different about this one is that, frankly, it was big, and it was bigger than you could possibly pull it up through the grate.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was impossible to get it up there. But it hung lower than the little hole than where Joy is reaching in. So basically, I spotted the cache and I had to pull it up, but I couldn't get the cache myself. Joy couldn't get the cache herself from where she was. So you see the teamwork involved in this one.
That's cool. I like that.
Sweet. And it's funny.
That's clever.
I think some people have probably done this one without it, they said. But the beauty, the fun of this one is to do it as a team. It's much easier that way. It's much more fun. And I told her, I mean, whatever you do, don't change this one the way it is. I mean, this is beautiful. And I think the people who have mentioned doing this as a team were the ones who were giving it favorite points. So she kind of walked into a little favorite point engine there.
Awesome.
Creating it that way. But
that's really, well, thank you so much. Yeah. The point of view caches, that's clever. That you go some very, very big food for thought, but you get to travel a lot, thankfully. And we want to spend a few minutes living through vicariously, Kevin, some of your more recent finds, or I shouldn't say more recent, but finds that you've done fairly recently. So take us through some that you've done that you wanted to point out tonight, because it's always encouraging to see, and it gets us motivated.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, motivation. Wow. Perfect term for the next one's coming up too. You do that really well, Pull up the next one there. This one is in Homestead, Florida. Jesse, I hope you're listening.
Florida.
Yeah. When you get down to Miami and finish
He's adding it.
Homestead is even farther south than Miami. And so there's a couple series by a geocaching couple that I can't say we've met them in person, but we've traded lots of messages with them, talked on the phone, and that sort of thing. Great couple. This is Erica and Sonny, the Deadpoolians. And they put out geocaches that, well, I haven't seen anything that they've done that was easy. Maybe they don't have any that are easy. But we've done long biking with them. We've done a couple of long 90-degree Florida in February hikes out in the open sun with them. Take plenty of water for sure on their stuff. And I'm just going to show you quickly a couple of ridiculously fun ones we did in the Riddler series. Same thing, Derek. If you wouldn't mind, just scroll down and get my log, and you'll see a picture. And I'll just tell the story as it goes with that one. There's one picture. Yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah. So there's Joy, Miss CM. And they have, I was calling it a banyan tree. It's not a banyan tree. Thanks to Erica and Sonny, I now know it's a ficus tree. And they gave me permission to say all this. And woohoo, back some effort. They are right. It took it too. We got to that one, and we
definitely
knew
a Deadpool thing,
tree climb.
Sure.
And this tree, I don't have a picture of it, so I'm not spoiling it. But it's a monster, okay? And not like the banyan trees in Hawaii or anything, but you're looking for a micro, I'll just say that, in this monster-sized tree. And we were both doing what we could to get different views of it. Eventually, I climbed into just the right spot and spotted the container I was looking for. But the problem is that once I got to the point where I could spot the container, I couldn't get to the container from the place where I spotted it. You guys have all experienced this, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
but if I climb down, I don't know if I'm going to find it again. So I stayed in that spot, and now it was, okay, honey, come on. And if you wouldn't mind. And, so she climbed up from another spot, and I kept kind of like talking her to the spot until she says she sees it. And she told me later, and she's probably right, that I couldn't have gotten to it, that I couldn't have gotten to it. She could.
Wow.
So the smaller frame was important. So she got to the geocache, and I think she handed it to me. No, I take it back. I think she signed this one. But anyway, it's all good. That was fun. Deadpoolians caches, I would say, are typically physical challenge.
Oh, froze up there for a second.
Froze up. I like how B&J Bush says the old I can't get there from here. So
yeah, right. The tree is so thick that I couldn't get to one other one that was on that trail. I did a bunch of other ones, but Joy was able to push her way through, squeeze her way through, and get to one where she could climb, and got that one too. So
cool.
Jambalaya.
Yeah. He says he looked at all, he rolled his eyes. Those trees. So many places to hide.
Yeah, well, that same Jambalaya put us through some effort too on this. But I gotta give a nice shout out to my friends there, Deadpoolians, for this next one, if you'll bring it up, because this was special, and they gave me permission to tell this amazing story. So there's this beautiful bike trail that Joy and I were caching with our friends Roger and Gene, FL Pirate, and the Wench, and we were biking, and combination of biking and walking and so on. And there's one geocache in there that was kind of different from the rest, and this was number 25 in a series. And it took you to a deck where people could stand, take in the views of a canal and stream, whatever it was, and go fishing from there and that sort of thing. So I get there, and there's a family hanging out there, and they're fishing and that sort of thing. And you know how that goes. It's like, okay, how am I going to do this with this?
You wait them out.
Anyway, the cords take you to the corner of it, and it's like the hint on this cache was brilliant because of the story. Apparently, this is where Mr. Deadpoolian, Sonny, proposed to his now fiancée, Erica, Miss Deadpoolians, Mrs. Deadpoolians to be. And he got down on a knee in the same spot where I got down on the knee to reach down and grab the geocache. And so he basically made you relive his marriage proposal. And there's so much more to this story that I know that time might get tight here, but it's a beautiful story there. I could maybe just squeeze in this one part of it, that he actually surprised Erica, and he said I could tell this, by taking her out under the guise of hiding geocaches, which in fact they were really doing for this trail. And he had a diamond ring in his bike gloves boring into his hand as they were biking this entire way.
Wow.
This is miles to get to number 25.
Right.
I guess he had one really sore hand at the time, but that's where he pulled out that diamond ring and did the thing. So
that's a brave man.
That's a brave man. A maximum effort.
Absolutely.
We always hear the good stories like that. I want to hear the stories when they don't work out sometimes. We need to collect those stories. We did this and she said no and it didn't work. We got lost and we never got engaged. You know,
I don't want that story.
Wow. As a father of an engaged daughter coming up in May with their wedding, I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, there you go. Good point. Touche.
Yeah. But
all right. A couple more, Kevin.
Yeah, a couple more.
So which one do you want to do?
Let's get to the next one that would have been there. That was the Where I Go.
Let's skip that. Let's go on to the next one. No, I'm kidding.
That's obviously the best one. Obviously.
Yeah.
I had to do that.
It's funny. I don't like Where I Goes. Generally, I don't.
Well, thanks for coming on tonight. It was good having you here.
But this Where I Go was one of the very best. I might even dare say, I think it's the best Where I Go I've ever done.
Wow.
This is my favorite of them. And it's not.
That's cool.
It's a combination of the way he combined it with what he was doing with a trail of caches that we hiked for and a long hike, maximum effort, right? So, although he's not part of that thing, but he did it. And so we had a blast with his hiking caches, and he took us into like what was frankly Florida jungle. And we were doing this Where I Go and got to the point where finally we got the final coordinates. So we're finding our way toward it, and we're squeezing through, pushing through stuff. And in Florida, there's a lot of like vines that can trip you and do other bad things to you, right? But and then you had to cross some water. I crossed the water. Joy didn't. She instead went around a different way, backtracked on the trail, and came to it. So I think I found the shortest way, and she found the smartest way.
There you go.
Often happens.
Isn't that the way it is usually?
Yeah. But I still got to it. I got to this one first. So because I pushed through the way I did, I got the perfect angle on this one. And I think I have a photo of this one. I'm not sure. Scroll down, if you would, and find my log. There.
I'm the last one to find it.
Oh, gosh, I have no picture. You know what? It's because the picture would have been a spoiler, and he actually gave me permission. So I'll just take the permission and do this part with it. It was beautiful. It's one of those where you come upon the spot and you find a rolled up paracord in a tree. You kind of know where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
But put this in a Jim. It was in the tree, and the angle that I approached from made it even cooler because I was looking right at the paracord, but if I stared just right, I could follow it just beyond it, up to the geocache, hanging right over the trail that Joy would have gone on if she had gotten to that spot first. Probably she doesn't find it because it's really well hidden if you're standing under it. Jim has a way of, I'll leave it at that, of tricking us on that one. You know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. But anyway, I got lucky because I was looking at the right angle. So, you know, I start hollering for her and we're trying to hear each other. And, you know, she comes down that trail and we just did teamwork to get that one. And it was beautiful, incredibly fun hide. You know, I think you're hearing, you know, the love of geocaching and in these caches that people are putting out. We've had a
great,
these were fun hides.
I'm adding these to my list as we go.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to have a lot of fun with this series. We didn't have kayaks with us, but it's 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, and all of it's 2 if by seas. You have to kayak to them.
Oh yeah,
along with the gators.
I've done that before. That's okay.
Woohoo! Okay,
I'm okay with that.
Is there a gator? There should be a gator attribute.
Yeah, right.
There's a wild animals, right? I guess it goes under wild animals.
I guess it does.
Yeah,
but they need a special one for gators because that's different.
Yeah, we had
because they're dangerous, but they're only dangerous if you're not careful, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
No, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. They're dangerous all the time. If you're not near them.
Right.
Gary, it's your show. Make the call. Do I have time for another or no?
Real quick.
Okay.
Give us one last one.
Go to Sitka, Alaska, and I'll do my best at making this fast.
Okay.
Okay.
This is Alaska's oldest too, by the way. This
This
is interesting.
is GC68. This one was on my mind for a long time. And Derek, if you could scroll down and get my log on this one, I have a ton of photos in here. This one was the cache that made me buy a cruise trip for Joy and me.
Wow, this is awesome.
It's on an island. Sitka's an island.
It is.
We have two ways to get to it: fly to it or cruise to it.
Or
both. This one is actually on my list, so you're speaking my language now.
Oh, you know,
there you are.
Funny. This is Florida jungle, except it's not Florida. You know, this is thick. This is thick, and none of these pictures do justice to how thick it was because I can't take pictures.
Oh wow, look at that photo
of it. Yeah, this place is amazing. You know, if you look at the spoiler pictures that people have posted, or even mine, you know it's a red container, and you know it's hanging in a giant root ball, and so you think, okay, this is going to be cake when I get to it, right? So you get in there, and you have like crazy bounce, and you can't see the next step that you're taking. At least you don't have to worry about the gators. But you end up pushing your way through, and I get to a spot, and I see the root ball. And then I see the other root ball and the next one. And there were at least more than a dozen of these. When I say giant root balls, like more than twice my height. They were crazy. And, you know, there's the cache. What this picture doesn't do justice to is the fact that I went to the wrong one first. And Joy and I accidentally split up. Like I took a couple steps one way, she took a couple steps another way, and you couldn't see to get back to where we had split up just from a couple steps. And all of a sudden I hear this voice coming from through this organic
jungle
crap. Something like "found it" in my wife's voice. And the nice thing is that we went in there with cowbells because I didn't have my bear bells. We went in with cowbells, and that was going to keep the bears away. The bells actually helped us on this one because we had to rejoin, and I didn't want her to leave the cache. So it was like ring the bells and everything. We used the sound to come back together, and we found that cache. And oh my gosh, it was
That's
wet.
Incredible.
It was light rain. But everything about it created the perfect Alaska environment. I mean, you don't want it to be nice. You want to feel like you're in Alaska.
Yeah.
And, it was totally Alaska. This thing was one of my favorite of all the state's oldest that I had done. And you have a treat, sir, coming up for you when you get up there. Because you'll know you're not in Florida anymore.
Cache Fest, Alaska.
Or Colorado.
You never know.
Yeah, go on, flash through those pictures there.
Cache Fest, Alaska.
There you go.
We can have it on Sitka.
I don't know how people show up. Was amazing. And so, you know, the oldest caches in the country really show off some amazing stuff.
That's that one is actually on my list. My dad used to work on that island. Years back. He worked there, and I've been wanting to get there ever since then. And I'm just gonna have to follow your log to know I can do it, and bring cowbells apparently. So that's the key.
Yeah, definitely bring something to keep the bears away, because that's a real deal you have to worry about there. And they're not just black bears.
Bears, alligators, and Kevin.
We didn't even get to all of them tonight because Salty Girl's here. Her cache was used as a thumbnail pic for the video on this as one of the caches, and we didn't even get to talking about that. So that's how many awesome caches you brought to the list tonight. We didn't even get to all of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll save the list and we'll keep going. I had Nevada, Utah, Kansas City, and Cooperstown, New York lined up yet. But you know what? That would go way over my time limit.
See, he's just doing that so we have to bring him back again. That's what he's doing. He's like reeling us back in, you know.
There you go.
Exactly.
Reel me in.
Leaving a trail behind him so that we have to come back, which is great.
Leave the gators behind, though.
The big question though is, are you going to hide one of these now?
Hide what point of view?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I don't have like actual plans, as in I know where I want to do it. You can tell from what I said before. I was thinking about it, but that geocache that I have at that spot is kind of old at this point, and I don't want to let go of that spot. Yeah. But I have some ideas about what might work. I think the best point of view caches are ones that, I think my guess is that they're the ones you can't force it. You have to kind of keep your mind open to when you're out there.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like Frank, even though that wasn't technically a point of view cache, I guess, I'm sure he thinks like a cache hider because he's always hiding caches. And that one was just brilliant. And, you can't make those moments happen sometimes. You got to be ready to jump on them when you see them.
When you see something unique like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, I like that. Kevin, it's been awesome as usual. Love having you with us. And it's been great. This has been fun. I look forward to seeing you somewhere. I don't know. We got to see each other in Rome, so maybe Rome, Georgia again.
When in Rome, right?
That's right.
I think it's a good chance in Rome this year.
Yeah, good fun. All right, so Thursday we'll be back on for deep dive, and then next Sunday I think we're back to Gadget Talk. One more, the fourth. Actually, it's a fifth Sunday. We'll have to figure something out, but we think it's a Gadget Talk. Derek can probably tell us, but anyway,
it'll just be a surprise.
Join us Thursdays.
It'd be caching related somehow, right?
Sundays, Tuesdays. Check out the schedule. Subscribe, like, and subscribe, and then you will know when the next show is on. So anyway, again, thanks everybody, and we'll see you on the next show. Good night, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
You bet.
May your finds be many, and your DNFs be few. May the terrain and difficulty both be less than 2. And whatever it is you're looking for, may it find its way to you. And may we all meet again.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. Please email us your comment at geocachetalk@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The show can be found on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Radio Public, or Spotify, as well as at the Geocache Talk website. Don't forget to click that subscribe button below and ring that bell notification so that you can see and hear the show on a weekly basis. And tell your friends about the show. Get them involved with us in the chat room. And until next week, don't just talk about geocaching, go geocaching.